Hello and welcome. My name is Lisa Sims, and I am the lead faculty of the Web and Mobile App Program and Emphasis, as well as the lead faculty for the Women in STEM at UAGC. I will be your host and panelist for this session, The Power of Mentoring with Matched Mindsets, Creating a Culture of Leadership. By joining us today, you acknowledge that this session is being recorded and will be shared with TLC related materials. Microphones will be muted for this presentation, but we encourage you to post questions and comments in the chat. Also, we have enabled live transcription. If you would like to use it, click the live transcription button at the bottom of your Zoom window. Now, I am pleased to introduce our research panel. Next slide, please. Our research team, as you can see, consists of Dr. Karen Ivey, the Forbes School and Business of Technology Department Chair. And as you also see, we have some of our Women in STEM officers who also assisted us in our research as well. And you see myself, and you also see Michael Hayden and also Dr. Tahira Dinashi, who is not here today, but she also participated in our research. Next slide, please. So for our presentation today, you're going to hear from Dr. Karen Ivey, you're going to hear from Michael Hayden, and you're also going to hear from me, and you're also going to hear from Justin Stewart. Now, Justin is not here today, but we do have a video with Justin's introduction that we will play now.
First, my name is Justin Stewart. I'm in my senior year here at University of Arizona Global Campus. I'm studying computer software technology. And it really wasn't until I started studying here that I really found my passion for computer science, more specifically data science. And now I'm just actively trying to pursue that.
And now I am going to turn it over to Michael Hayden, who is going to discuss the importance and the benefits of the Match Minds mentoring program. Michael, take it away.
Thank you, Lisa. Yes, my name is Michael Hayden. I'm in charge of the MISM, Master of Information Systems Management, and the BABIS, the Bachelor of Arts in Business Information Systems, as well as the Drone Aviation Aerospace Club. This program and this Matched Mind mentoring research projects that we created, one of the things that we're looking at is involvement with student organizations, and matched mentor and mindsets is really just creating this culture of STEM leadership, or the care for technology students. But precisely within our departments, we have specialized knowledge. We're offering all of these benefits: the career development, increased earning potential, lifelong learning, and of course, an enhanced professional network with our amazing number of students that have graduated. But we need to offer a lot more. And so by that, we developed this idea for the research of technology care with Matched Minds mentoring and creating a STEM leadership, which also provides a myriad of data to consider. But this STEM skills for underrepresented students, these skills are pivotal for the US economy as a whole. So the ecosystem is supported by this future of worldwide demand for these skills. The UAGC Technology Studies Department conducts research to identify the determinants for improving the retention of underrepresented students in UAGC's technology programs. So again, we want to just stress that we are working with the culture of care, working with our other organizations as well to provide this support. Match Mind mentoring. So our title, again, goes into these objectives. Develop a better understanding of the beliefs and experience of students who are actively pursuing a career in STEM and enrolled in the UAGC FSBT Technology Studies degree program with a focus on underrepresented students. Access whether students STEM pursuits are impacted by exposure and involvement in student organizations, having mentors who are industry matched, and whether this exposure is casually associated with increased feelings of STEM belonging, stronger STEM identity, and improved outcomes in STEM leadership and career success. Discover unique culture of care needs requested by technology students provided by industry SMEs, identifying areas of enhancing technology study student support leading towards improved student retention and persistence, and develop recommendations for extended research and institution-wide offerings across UAGC programs with a focus on expanding mentoring, industry collaborations, and augmented learning offerings. So these are our main objectives. Now, our research hypotheses, our students, the hypothesis is that student engagement and matched mentors in online study programs is a significant influencing factor contributing to the retention, the growth, leadership development of students with a focus on underrepresented students in STEM fields. So these three questions are, can student STEM organizations provide the structure for students to develop a greater sense of belonging to STEM? Does connecting students with STEM professionals and mentors help support retention of students in STEM? And can student organizations be incubators for the development of STEM leadership competencies? So what we have here is Justin, one of our speakers, he finds his benefits in this video I'm about to play, and listed here are additional benefits for our program.
So with the Matched Mind Mentoring Program, if you were to identify 3 key benefits that you would like to share so that someone else, another student who's listening to this, could think about and say, hey, you know what? Yes, I definitely want to participate in the Matched Mind Mentoring Program. What would those 3 benefits be?
Well, one, I think I would say it gave, for me anyway, I find that I like school because it gives me routine. It gives me routine. It gives me a certain level of discipline, and there's a certain level of work that I need to accomplish. And this, I think, really achieved something similar. It gave me another level of routine that I could look forward to in my week and count on. And it really just made me feel better about myself because I was doing something to progress my life and so on as well. So, just going the extra mile. So if you're someone who likes routine and wants to, take the extra step, I think absolutely that's one huge benefit. I think if you're nervous at all about, getting a job after you graduate, for me, I get terrified. I'm like, what if I don't have the skills necessary to do it? What if I wait too long? What if it takes forever? So I personally find if I'm nervous about breaking into an industry post graduation, then there's nothing better to do than to get a head start and to figure it out now and to establish yourself now. So if you're someone who wants to get a head start on getting a job and getting in the industry, I think this would be an incredibly valuable experience as well. Honestly, I think the other thing is that it's given me confidence. I think a lot of it is that it has given me confidence. I personally was always, as I mentioned earlier, I was always terrified of having an online presence. I never wanted to make a post. I never wanted to put my photo out there. I didn't want to do a lot of these different things. And the whole process of getting a job or throwing myself out there just scared me. So having the barrier and having the opportunity to get closer to somebody over time, being able to talk to somebody and discuss things like that and work around problems like that and work with you and through those problems is really built me up, really built up my confidence, really made me feel like I'm capable of this and that I can do this. So I would say that was certainly a great benefit as well.
Again, this goes into the value of Matched Mind Mentoring. And with that, I want to introduce our chair, our Technology Studies Department chair, the driving force behind this program, Dr. Karen Ivey. Dr. Ivey.
Thank you, Mr. Hayden. And thank you, Justin, as well, for sharing those thoughts with us on the Match My Mentoring program. So we wanted to step you through the actual assessment tool that we identified as a part of our research, and all of the research participants who were part of this assessment survey filled this out so that we could get insight from them on a lot of different angles, including what their desires were when it came to mentoring, when it came to getting something extra as they were going through their learning journey. So, Michael, if we go to the next slide, and I'm going to take us through the slides and show you actually some of the questions and the content that was on the assessment tool that we created. We used Qualtrics to create our assessment tool, and the assessment tool included several different questions coming at the participants who were part of the survey in different angles. First off, we had 60 individuals who participated in the survey. 60 individuals were in our sample group. These were individuals, students enrolled in our UAGC Technology Studies technology programs. And true to our university, all of the ages were ages 18 years or older. Michael stepped us through the objectives of our research. Those are the same objectives and our targets when we created the questions that went into our assessment tool. So, Michael, if you take us to the next slide, we're going to show you some of the areas that we focused on that were part of the assessment tool that individuals focused on. So the first set of questions that the participants addressed for us were demographic types of information. We asked the questions such as their age, such as the area that they were studying or targeting in STEM, their sex as well, so that, and some other additional demographic information, so we could look at the assessment of the results in several different ways, in several different areas, which we did as part of our analysis, and it was really telling when it came to the input from the respondents. Next slide, Michael. The next set of questions that you can see on this next slide had to do with the feelings of individuals when it came to STEM. It had to do with how they got interested in STEM. So some questions such as indicate your level of agreement with each of these, and it addressed STEM topics excite me. I am certain that I'm going to complete pursuing a degree in STEM. Doing STEM is cool. I watch movies and shows about STEM careers. So we had several topics and questions to get from the participants in the survey. How do you feel about STEM? And how do you feel about you in proceeding in a STEM degree? And so this is where a couple of the other questions addressed as well in this second section here. With the right amount of effort, can anyone become a top person in a STEM career? Started asking these questions to get a feeling from the participants. How much do you feel yourself and others like you and others as well would be able to be successful in STEM careers? One of the questions or statements, I am confident I can understand the most difficult concepts brought in STEM courses. And so we even got into what's the level of comfort as they are going through their learning journey in STEM. And then some other ones, still trying to get that feeling from the participants, but how do they feel as they're going through STEM careers and being prepared to be successful? One statement said, I feel I can get support from my professors, staff, and classmates. We wanted to hear, how do participants feel they are supported as they're going through their learning journey? During my degree program, I would like more hands-on labs using industry tools. We wanted to get that feeling as well to see how participants felt of their learning journey as they prepared going into a STEM career. If we can go to the next slide. Then we got into questions really dealing with the perception of the participants with their STEM readiness. During my degree program, I feel like I'm aligned with the STEM directions. I'm aligned with my mentor, a mentor in STEM. I would like more support during my degree program. We wanted to hear exactly what their needs are and what they wanted. My STEM organization involvement helps to increase my confidence in pursuing a STEM career. Wanted to see how are our participants already involved with industry as well, individuals in the STEM industry. I can develop STEM skills, growth, and leadership competencies in student organizations. This was another key area of our research, trying to identify the connection of participants or students with STEM organizations, student organizations that we have at the university. How well is that proceeding? How much more of that connection do students need with STEM organizations? And we asked them very directly questions regarding mentoring. How well is their mentoring relationship going? First off, do they have a mentor? Do they have a STEM mentor? And how well are those relationships going? And so what were some of those results? And Michael, as you go to the next slide, we're going to show you from analysis some of the results that we had. One of the things that we were very pleased with is the respondents to our survey cross the various ethnic backgrounds, pretty similar to the cross of students that we have at UAGC. We really had a large population across the various, crossing the various ethnic groups. The majority of the respondents were male, Caucasian males as well. Next slide. When we look at, as it shows on our next slide, in the category that had to do with childhood STEM experiences and family influences, we found that overall, the majority of the students tended not to have strong parental support and exposure to role models who were already in the STEM industry. So as they were growing up, as they were making those determinations of what they wanted to do in their careers, the respondents did not have that strong parental support identifying them to go into a STEM degree. We also found out that the majority of the respondents did not believe people like themselves had STEM careers. And this is when they were young. This is all about what you were exposed to. What did you see when you were young? And so the thing that's very interesting is even with this input that the respondents provided, still about 23% still wanted to have a STEM career from a young age and enjoyed STEM related media as children. So a small percentage of our population, even though they weren't getting that feedback from parents or from others that they were exposed to, they developed at a young age, 23%, an interest in STEM. And for others, that interest developed, just like myself, as they got older, even as they were about to step into their learning journey. Only 7% knew someone of their gender outside of their family within a STEM career. Only 9% had parents who encouraged them to pursue a STEM career, and only 8% knew someone in their ethnic background outside of their family with a STEM career. This is very similar to my background as well. Michael, next slide. From a gender and ethnic matching preferences, when students were asked what would encourage others of their same gender and ethnicity to pursue a STEM career, over half of the respondents identified that exposure to a STEM professional of a gender and ethnicity would encourage them to pursue a STEM career. That exposure is important. And this feedback was very, very important to us as we decided on our next step in our research. 38% stated that exposure to a STEM professional of their gender or ethnicity would encourage them to pursue a STEM career. Most respondents, about 57%, agreed that exposure to media, those in STEM and media, where they were able to see those professionals, would encourage someone to go into a STEM career. And 43% agreed that exposure to media featuring STEM professionals of their gender and ethnicity would encourage someone to go into a STEM career. And that last percentage is important because that really focuses on when I see someone who looks like me in a career that I'm interested in stepping into, that encourages me, that gives me more confidence as well to continue pursuing my career direction and what I'm interested in. A very, very interesting stat here from the analysis. Next slide, Michael. So as we see from the next slide, we went into that familiarity with diverse STEM professionals. Just did you have that connection? And what we found out is a significant lower percentage of respondents could easily name an Hispanic, African American, or an Asian STEM professional, where of course a much higher percentage were able to name a Caucasian, a male Caucasian, right, in the STEM profession. Respondents also identified a lower percentage in easily naming female STEM professionals. This is 2022, everyone, and we still have a gap in females who are stepping into STEM professionals versus males. We have several females who have excelled in STEM, including those on this panel as well. However, we still have a gap to fill. We need more females entering into STEM. So there was a relatively low percentage ability to name STEM professionals unless those professionals were Caucasian. We want to change that, but this was the analysis that we found out from the feedback of the survey. The next slide. When it came to STEM attitudes and academic mindsets, this is how do you feel, right, about STEM? The majority of respondents saw themselves being successful in STEM, which was awesome. The majority of respondents feel people like me before belong in STEM careers. That was good too. That's how you feel. A much smaller percentage, however, felt that their STEM classes they had a lot of people who looked like them. And so what does that tell us? That tells us that when it comes to diversity in individuals who are going into STEM careers, preparing themselves for STEM careers, there's another gap. And that's where we need more diverse individuals stepping into STEM careers. So Michael, as you go to the next slide, we found out also there was strong input provided by participants on what else would you want to help you as you prepare to go into the STEM career? And those areas include alignment with the industry mentor, collaborations with STEM professionals, student organizations to grow leadership skills. Individuals ask for more of this. Availability to internship opportunities, more hands-on labs, and access to job opportunities. And so we as a research team, we took all this information and put it together and identified part of this research has to be creating a matched mind mentoring program. We wanted a program that addressed exactly what our participants said they needed more of. And so if we go to the next slide, we're going to hear from Justin as he gives his personal testimony. It's always good to hear from individuals who step through something, right? And Justin is going to let us know just what he thinks about the Matched Mind Mentoring Program. Justin, share this with us, please.
As you have been meeting with me as your mentor in this program, what would you say was most important to you in the Matched Mind Mentoring Program?
Well, it's maybe a little long-winded, but when I came into this internship, truthfully on a whim originally, and I was coming out of another internship, which was a programming internship. And I was pretty lost. I didn't know how to break into the industry, but I knew that I wanted to. And I'm still working to, but I had pretty much nowhere to start. And so I think I couldn't have got a better mentor in the grand scheme of things. We've gone through multiple sessions of months of meeting together. And ever since, I've really been able to put together a really professional presence for myself online, which I had absolutely none of. I've gotten to meet and get amazing connections, and I've really just come to feel a lot more confident about my ability to get a job when I graduate. And I think it's been wonderful.
Well, thank you, Justin. And so to tell everyone just how we progressed through the whole research effort and in creating the Match Mind Mentoring, I'd like to hand the floor over to Ms. Lisa Sims. Lisa, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Dr. Ivy. And as you've heard from Dr. Ivy about the assessment tool and the results, I'm going to talk to you about the process as well as the tools that we use. Next slide, please. And so we started February of 2022. And so from February to June, we actually had our mentors. The process of selecting the mentors, we had volunteers, and they were broken down by their majors. But once we received our mentors, then we had our initial session. And as you can see, over the months, we met with our mentees on a consistent basis, helping them with whatever they really needed help with. And it varied from academic to personal to career. So whatever they needed, we were there for them. Next slide, please. And so as you can see here, we had 80 students from our tech studies program. And most of them fell into, well, first year as well as fourth year and beyond. And we had students as well as alumni. And so we also had 14 technology subject matter expert mentors. And I was one of those mentors. So was Dr. Ivan, and so was Michael. Next slide, please. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to hear from Justin about his process of taking part in the Match Mind Mentoring Program. Justin?
Maybe we can sort of step others through the process a little bit. So maybe we want to talk about how we meet and how frequently we meet as well.
Yeah, so it's actually entirely up to me, more or less. I mean, I know you have your scheduling as well, but typically it's framed to where it's all in my court. And if I choose that I'd like to meet with you weekly, which is what we did for several months in the first session, then I was able to do that. And I met with you once a week, every Friday, 1 hour. And I just did my best to prepare any type of question and then get my answer. And then we would set up a couple of actionable tasks that I could do between the next week. And that really just kept me on a good path of just progression, really. And then, but if that was too much, then, which I hit a crazy point in life and I needed to move, then I switched it to 2 weeks, once every 2 weeks. And that's been a lot more manageable during this time. And then if I ever needed more intense care, I'm sure I could go back to 1 week. So it's very flexible is all I'm trying to say. It really has been accommodating for me. And it's been wonderful.
And what we did as well with the process is that we knew that our students were balancing work, school, family, and their life. And so we didn't want to add anything else on their plate to make it topple over. So we were very flexible in that. And so our initial introductions happened via email, and we coordinated scheduling that way. And most of our meetings happen over Zoom. And so we let the mentees be in charge of when it was best for them to be able to be on these sessions. And also, we wanted to have the mentees to share their goals for the duration of this mentoring program so that we could have something to track and not just meet with them. We wanted them to be able to have something to say that they actually accomplished during this particular process. And so, as we know, in order to be able to accomplish your goals, you must be consistent. And we met consistently with our mentees, and we focused on those goals and any additional goals that came up. I know I met with my mentee weekly via Zoom, and when we couldn't meet via Zoom, we used text messaging, and we even used social media apps. We use Facebook Messenger as well as Instagram. The whole point of that was meeting the students and the mentees where they were. And so flexibility was key for this to work. And so, in terms of the technology, again, it was Zoom because most of our mentees are familiar with Zoom. And so we didn't want to introduce a new tool that they would have to learn and potentially become discouraged and then not want to participate in the program. So we use Zoom. And also, since our sample of mentees was so small, we were able to do that. And we also used Excel to be able to manage our mentees. But of course, as the number of mentees grows, then we would have to look at a more scalable solution that would, number one, make it a little bit easier for us to match up the mentees with mentors and just kind of automate that process instead of us doing it ourselves. And as I mentioned, we didn't want technology to be an obstacle, so we were just flexible and we used what our mentees already had. Michael, next slide, please. And so now I am going to turn it over to Dr. Ivy for our conclusion and recommendations. Dr. Ivy?
Thank you, Lisa. We just cannot continue on. We can go to the next slide here without emphasizing the level of excitement that existed and still exists during the Match Mind Mentoring Program. The level of excitement from the students, from the instructors, from the industry experts who volunteered their time to support in mentoring as well. And I also want to mention that me personally, before we did the survey, before we created the Match Mind Mentoring Program, I thought the main area where our students would have raised their hand and said, hey, I need some help in this area was going to be an assistance through maybe certain focus or topic areas in their courses as they were going through their programs. And I thought this is where we would be asked to provide that additional support. What we found out, and I can ask Michael and Lisa, just to chime in as well right here, as we talk conclusions and recommendations, the main areas that our students were interested in getting additional support was that career preparation. And they asked very specific questions as they were preparing for interviews, preparing their documents, be it their resume, be it letters, understanding how to work internally the individuals within their organization to set up an interview that may not be for a job, but just informational as well. How do you work within the structure there and maneuver to get yourself in position to get recognized? And so, Michael, Lisa, what were those areas as well as your mentees were and are interested in? Okay, Michael, you were talking.
Yeah, I'm going to jump in real quick because what you said was true and factual. Is a lot of the students were just more interested in one. I would say one of my mentees really liked the idea of no STEM experience to now they're completely STEM focused. And then I had another. I had a few different mentees at certain times. But I had another one that wasn't interested, that found out they just weren't really interested in STEM. They were more interested in the idea of STEM, but they didn't like it as a career. They wanted to do something with more interpersonal skills. So I think it kind of helps in the you say you go after what you're passionate about, and then the money will come. But again, it's not always about the money. Sometimes it is about that passion. So I would say that what you're saying is very, very true to form. Mm-hmm.
And as far as my mentee was interested in STEM careers, but life happened. And so she had some personal issues going on. And so her focus shifted to entrepreneurship. And we talked about how she could go down the path of being an entrepreneur and still kind of incorporate some of STEM into her entrepreneurial journey. So it wasn't just STEM focused, but it was, helping her where she could find where her passion was and to be able to incorporate STEM along that journey.
Very good, very good. And I had several mentees who were at all different walks of their life within the STEM, their STEM career. I had some who were in STEM already and they were going for an upper leadership position. I had some like Justin who was finishing up his learning journey and he's about to step into STEM. And so we worked a lot about internships and selecting organizations and going for those entry-level jobs as well. I had individuals who were moving from a current position where they were that was not STEM related and wanted to get into STEM and needed some insights on how to work their organization, which was a very heavily populated STEM organization. STEM types of jobs were all embedded inside of the organization, but they needed insight on breaking into the organization. And so it was a whole width of areas that we found out. As the first bullet really says, it's so important to listen, to find out from those you're working with, your students, on what their needs are, and then shape your Matched Mind mentoring program around that. We also found that students said that it was very important to them to have the connection with someone from the STEM organization, the STEM industry. And of course, not a surprise to us, but the students themselves said that. And that's where that strong entrance and being connected with someone in STEM really came from. And then as the next point talks about, mentoring could be accomplished virtually. So for those who are in an online educational institution, just like us, understand that you definitely can still set up mentoring programs in your online platform. Very, very important to know that. We've done it successfully and can share all the extra details with you. Also, educators are so important when it comes to underrepresented students who are in STEM degree programs or other programs that you have within your university. The instructors, the educators are so important in helping to build that level of confidence and helping to connect students with those within the industry so they can get firsthand answers to their questions as they enter into the field, into their career paths. And so as we go to the next slide, both Michael and Lisa will highlight some of the other key conclusions and recommendations that we have from the from our research, and then we want to open it up to entertain any questions you may have. So Michael and Lisa, all on you.
Michael, you want to kick us off?
Michael? Michael, you have the first three bullets.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. I could not get to my microphone was about 3 levels deep. I apologize. So again, helping women and minorities develop strong identities and academic mindsets related to STEM is a potential opportunity to address underrepresentation in STEM. Well, that again, when you're looking at the opportunity for this just technology ecosystems to be able to have additional support and to be able to understand paths to success. These paths that we're dealing with in our program, whether or not you're mentoring or whether you're providing information, really gives those individuals in the greatest need the opportunity to fill their, to just be associated with it. As we initially, identified, one of the problems just association. So whether it's in communication and making connections, I think that just developing that mindset of, I can do STEM, I can not deviate off of those paths, because there's a lot of forces pushing people off the path of STEM that are underrepresented in minorities. So I think one of the important things is just to be able to make sure that all are welcome in these studies. And then again, within the second bullet, there is these inherent challenges that we talked about, whether it's the connectivity to the industry, the opportunity to see, or just the fact that there isn't really anybody that is purposely giving them advice and understanding where they want to take their careers or their lives. And so it is important to feed those individuals with this knowledge and let them consume and absorb what technology can do for them. The future educational efforts to increase diversity in STEM fields. Again, this leads back to other studies that discuss, at what points do people deviate off of a STEM path. And I think that really it's just to be providing education that in the schools, the developing strategies to keep interest in these very important tech ecosystem evolutions, and just make sure everybody understands that their opportunities are there to support them. With interactions with mentors, it gives that opportunity to, one, allow them to see what they may or may not want to do. Lisa, the next 3 are yours.
Thank you, Michael. And as the fourth bullet states, educators should focus on inclusive learning by highlighting the accomplishments of diverse STEM professionals. Being the one of the faculty advisors for the Women in STEM, I share a lot of information about conferences with students as well as members, so that you can see yourself represented in these STEM careers. And a lot of these careers, if you didn't really attend some of these conferences and see some of these amazing women in action, you probably wouldn't even know they existed. So just kind of getting us out of the mindset of just, let's do what's in the classroom, that's fine, but we also have to incorporate what's being done in the workplace into our academic endeavors, so that students can see themselves represented in STEM and want to be a part of it, particularly women. The next bullet, integrate student requested support directions in establishing our culture of care strategies. And I receive a lot of requests from students about wanting to further their knowledge in STEM areas. And as I mentioned previously, there's only so much that you can really learn in the classroom. You have to step outside of the classroom. And so if you see students that have that thirst and that hunger to want to expand their knowledge and be able to go to that next level, then by all means do whatever you can to help them to get there. I wish I had that. Speaking as a woman of color in the information technology field that's mostly dominated by white males, I didn't have that. I didn't have any women of color as instructors, and no one really cared. It was like, okay, you either do it or you don't. And so being a woman of color in IT, I find myself being more open and caring because I didn't have that extended to me. And so Just because it wasn't extended to me doesn't mean I can't extend it to someone else. And the last bullet point, the influence of family support in the success of students in STEM should be further investigated to assess strategies that could strengthen familiar advocacy for youth aspiring to enter STEM fields. As we know, STEM, the interest in STEM starts at a very young age. And so, if we can cultivate that hunger for it at a young age, and also get the family involved to encourage students to say, hey, have you thought about this? Most people, when they think about careers, we hear the same careers: lawyer, doctor, dentist, or something along that lines. But no one, if you're in a conversation, no one just comes up with, hey, I want to be a cybersecurity expert. That doesn't necessarily come up, but it should. And so if families were more educated and kind of rally around the students to say, hey, have you thought about this? And you can do it. If we can get behind people and just encourage them to say, hey, you've got this. And where does it start? It starts in the family. If your family isn't behind you to push you on, to tell you, hey, you can do it, the world is not going to do it. So we've got to start at the family level. And so I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Ivy to kind of close us out before we open it up with some questions.
Very good. Oh, my goodness. And the points that Michael and Lisa made, conclusions that we found from this study, I just want to reemphasize again, point number 2, that several students stated that I don't feel like I see someone like me in my classroom. That really, really does speak to diversity and the need to increase diversity of individuals going into the STEM field, going through our places of education as well. That is so important. I definitely understand that. And Lisa can speak to this too, especially when it's male, female, and African American. We were the only ones a lot of times, right? Going through our classes, going through conferences, even as an adult, going to STEM conferencing, you look around and you may or may not see many people who look similar to you, but the importance of a student going through their learning program to be connected with individuals so that they can see, they can feel and even talk about some challenges that they may run into is so, so important, so important. Needless to say, the overall recommendation that we have of our research, Match Mind Mentoring, is for throughout our university, spread this out across all programs. Every student should be connected with a person or several individuals from the industry that they are preparing to enter into. This is what the Matched Mind Mentoring Program is all about. Making that connection, making it early, even at the early freshman year when they first enter into your educational institution, so that as they go through their studies, as they get more closer to going for internships, preparing to step into their career field, they're working with you and working with individuals who are matched to them, those mentors, to help them as they go through. Our recommendation is for throughout all of our University of Arizona Global Campus, all programs, to have a similar Matched Mind Mentoring program for your students. For all universities within the industry, do the same thing. And we are available to assist. We know how we did it. You can even speak to more of our students or see more of their statements where they're providing input on how being connected to the Matched Mind Mentoring has been so, so successful to them. But do it. Make the step. You will be excited to see the number of individuals from industry who are willing to work with you in your program to provide that extra insight and preparation for your students. You will like the results. So now we would love to open it up for questions. And we have seen that some questions came in just a little earlier as well. I'm trying to back up to see some questions. I know one that I saw whiz through had to do with the mentors. Do you have to pay mentors who are supporting you in the Matched Mind Mentoring Program? Lisa, Michael, would you like to take that one?
Well, from a faculty standpoint, no, I did not get paid, but we did have, we had mentors who did receive payment. We had our women in STEM students who did receive compensation, but everyone else volunteered because we wanted to help. And really, when it comes to mentoring, you don't really look to get paid for it. It's kind of one of those things that you do from the heart because you want to see someone else succeed, not that you want to get paid for it. So that's kind of how you look at it as well. And then sometimes when someone wants to be a mentor and that comes up as one of the first things is, do I get paid? From a personal standpoint, you might want to really think about whether or not that person's really going to give their best effort. Just putting that out there. Michael, did you want to chime in?
Well, again, I think just, the culture of care pays off in the long run. I mean, you do good by helping others. Sometimes that's that's how I think there's a book. I'm trying to remember the quote who wrote it, but the book is actually Community Before Self, and I think that there's a lot of ideas of our community as our students need our support. Therefore, this community and this matched mentoring is a really important. It's an important drive that we're trying to push, and the tools that are here as technology continues to develop, we have more opportunities to enhance and spark interest and have our students really be those the change in our environment by taking example from us.
And I like to add in as well, when it comes to mentors and do you have to pay them? The answer is no, you don't have to pay your mentors. You may be surprised at the number of individuals who are willing to provide their time out of their willingness to provide support. They want to see students be successful, and all they really need is someone to ask them. And so you may find out that that's all that you need to do. Reach out in your communities, in your branches of your educational institution, those who those who your instructors know as well, and ask them if they'd be willing to be interested and have the passion in being a mentor in your Match My Mentoring program. Vanessa asked a question, what would you summarize as the top 3 reasons why this mentoring pilot was a success? I'll give top 3, and then I'd like to hear Lisa and Michael as well. Number 1, we did the survey. We didn't start off in first creating something for our students and then ask, how'd you like it? We asked the students up front, what are your needs? We knew what we were providing from our programs that are well-structured, providing the skills, the competencies for students to be developed, stepping into industry, but we knew we always wanted to do something more, and we knew there was something more that we could do. So we phrased and developed the survey that we went through, stepped out for students to find out from them exactly what their needs were and what would they like to see. Number 1, importance right there. Number 2, when we asked for mentors to participate in this program, we made it very clear we needed mentors who had a passion to help our students succeed. That basis, and those who raised their hand and said yes as mentors were willing to provide their time, all different types of levels. I have some mentees that the cohort is over. I still meet with them on a bi-weekly basis. Some others, they made it to the point of getting that next job, and they said, I'm good now, but Karen, Dr. Ivy, if it's okay, I would still like to check back with you. So you can, I can check in with you as I proceed in my career, and I can bounce some things off to you as well. For the mentors, you have to have a passion for that. You can't be on a time clock and say, oh, nope, I gave my 10 hours and that's it. You have to have a passion for success for your students. That's the second thing. The third thing is, which made this pilot successful, as Lisa described the process, as Justin, from his own words, as a mentee explained, the mentee drives this process. So we work with our mentees to develop their plan. What do they want out of this mentoring relationship? What are their goals? And then the mentor works with the mentees as they step through the process to be successful. So those are the top 3 reasons I would say that this pilot was successful. And Michael, Lisa, would you like to provide comments as well?
Lisa, do you want to go or you want me to take it?
I'll just give my quick 3 and then you can give your 3. I would say the top 3 reasons. Number 1, the willingness of mentees to raise their hand to say that, hey, I need a mentor, because a lot of times people need mentors, but they don't raise their hand to actually get them. So I think that was by far one of the driving forces. Number 2, having willing mentors who wanted to give of their time to be able to see the students and the mentees actually achieve their goal. And number 3 is just the availability, just being available. And we sometimes underestimate how that can really have a positive effect on a student when they know that, hey, they have your personal information, and if they contact you, you will answer. And so I think those are some of the my top 3 reasons why it was successful. Michael?
Well, again, these are the simple, like, semantic questions. We have some commonality. We introduce ourselves, and that making that connection is one of the biggest pieces, is finding something that really you can begin to agree on, and sort of it, again, like Dr. Ivy and Lisa both said, it drives that, and the student drives it. So when we see that the direction, then we are able to just point them in the right direction, whether it's with learning paths or whether it's the ideas of how they can be successful. So the second part is, again, just the newer technology. You wouldn't be able to have students come to a meeting with me every day at in a brick and mortar. So people come right into my office here, and then we become more along the lines of utilizing technology that we have. Obviously, it's in the past few years, this has been the means, but not the method, or the cause, but not the result. So I think the technology that we have continues to get better, and more expansion of how we can nurture and guide students, just because of the technology advancements, whether it's going to be in VR or it's almost like you can reach out and be there, and then feel that that support, rather than it being from just where we are right now. And then I think finally is just, nothing ventured, nothing gained. Students are wanting success, and if we give them a path, they're going to grab it. They're going to take it. Yep. And that's all. That's my top 3.
I would like to also just chime in and say that if you are interested in being engaged in something where you can see results, you as a mentor will be able to see the growth of your mentee. That is so fulfilling. Oh my goodness. As their level of confidence increases, as they now are going after those jobs that maybe they would not have gone after, as they land those jobs and they send you a text and say, hey, Dr. Ivy, I just want you to know I got that job, or I got promoted. Oh my goodness, that is so fulfilling as a mentor to know that you helped someone to get to their next level. One of the things that we say in technology studies is our students are a catalyst of change. And we really enforce that with our students. We believe that as well. And so it doesn't surprise us when our students have placements as leadership directors, IT director, senior level positions, landing a job in cybersecurity, all of the above, because why? We expect that of them, and we know they're able to get to their next. And so just wrapping up, I would say once again, if you're interested in developing a matched mentor program, we definitely would recommend it for you to do that. We're here to provide any assistance we can to you as you develop this in your program, in your university, and then just watch your students shine. I want to open the panel up floor for final statements as well. Miss Lisa, final statements.
Well, I would say I'm going to close with a quote from Maya Angelou. I believe she said, people will forget what you say, but they will never forget how you make them feel. And so this mentoring program is proof of that. Michael?
Well, again, I introducing old ideas is mentoring is nothing new, but there's definitely new avenues of approach, and I recommend you all take those avenues with us.
And so to close us out, I want to thank all of you for joining us for the power of mentoring with matched mindsets, creating a culture of leadership. And as you see on the screen, you have our contact information. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. And hey, we are here to help you, help our students become the best that they can be. And with that, enjoy the rest of the conference and enjoy the rest of your day.